Hi, we're back. We are looking at both AMC and GME today. So we have a mixed story today. We can see that GME has been falling in price. AMC has actually been rising. So again, looking at the Google charts to make it a bit more clear for people, we can see that GME today is down by around 5.8%. If we look over to AMC, however, we are looking at a big increase. Now this is actually from last night. We can see that today we have fallen a bit, looking at how it has been moving in after hours, still down by about 2.4%. But obviously in the pre-market hours we can see this big rise, and subsequently we have seen the price of AMC move since last night basically by a further 3.55%. So not the largest move that we have seen on AMC in the past few months, but of course it is another step in the right direction. So the question is, with both of these stocks, what should we do now? Should we be buying or should we be selling? Well, I'm giving you all of my personal opinions in this very short video. Obviously not financial advice, and I am not a financial advisor. This is only just my personal opinion, and I do want to stress that. But yeah, now that I have mentioned it, let us jump in, but do make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe. And other than that, the video is completely free to watch. But if you did want to support the channel, you can do that by pressing the join button down by the subscribe button, and you will be helping us out massively by helping to fund the videos. But yeah, now we're going to jump into this one, looking at how these two stocks have been moving in the past day or so. This time we are going to start off with GME. So GME once more is in the red. This is not a good sign. Looking at the lows of the day at around 15.10, of course 10 past 3, we can see that the share price has picked itself up, especially in post-market hours as well. We have been up by about 2.5%. So that is a step in the right direction, but unfortunately it isn't enough to keep us in the green. So again, looking at how this one has been in the past week or so, a big sell-off action has occurred, down by about 26%, so of course shaving around a quarter of share price off in just the past 5 days alone. Now again, with GME, the most important thing to remember is this is not your traditional stock. The fundamentals aren't necessarily as strong as a stock of this price should be, and that must be noted. So again, because they do have such a strong community around it, the share price gets pushed all over the place. When it rockets very quickly. When it falls, it does the same. And we have seen this in the past month. So initially, in the past 30 days, up by around 551%. Even now, if you'd have bought this one 30 days ago and held until now, you still have made profits of around 400%, so pretty decent. But again, the sell-off has occurred and brought us down by about 23%. So furthermore, looking at the sell-off in the past 5 days, we had the big sell-off at the later part of last week, and again moving into this week we are seeing this continue. But actually from this date here on the 16th, which was the Tuesday, we are seeing a bit of a pickup in share price. So from that point we are up by around 16%, and moving over to the candlestick charts, we can see that the sell-off action is actually very interesting. So initially we had this big steep sell-off just a few days ago, then we had this very mixed candle here. It brought us down by a rather large amount, but pulled us up by a small amount. Ultimately the candle ended green, which is good. Now the past 2 days have been very interesting. Yesterday pushed us up quite high, but it wasn't enough to keep the candle in the green. And today the upside is actually slightly lower than the downside. So the downside is actually taking the win, we can see, and that does show quite a bit of sell-off action in my opinion. So again, another strong day to the downside in my opinion, not by too much. It could have absolutely been a lot worse, and that is important to note, but it is not the best sign for GME. So should you be buying GME or should you be selling it? Well, I think that is a very interesting question right now. I think it is a tale of two stories. Some people are saying that you should be buying the dip. Some people are saying that this story could be over. Well, I'm going to give you both sides of the argument and let you guys decide. Well, the first side of the argument is something that we already know. The community behind GME and AMC for that matter is strong. People on Reddit, Wall Street Bets do want to see these stocks go to the moon. A lot of people have invested in these ones, and of course they want to make a lot of money off these share prices, and that is not necessarily a bad thing, but of course it does just show the amount of magnitude of people behind this one. So there is a very strong following, which definitely could hype this one up, and like I mentioned earlier in the video, we have seen when this one takes off, it really takes off, and it happens in a very short period of time, so it absolutely still does have potential to turn itself around. Now, the other side of the story, or the other side of the argument, is the fact that GME is a very, very hyped stock. Now, I know this is a time where people are going to dislike the video, but guys, I'm just going to keep it real with you. The fundamentals of GME aren't the best in my opinion. What the company's business model is cool. I do like the company. I think it's nice that people have quite a lot of favorability to it, the fact that people want to keep the company around, but ultimately the company's price shouldn't be at $200. I hate to say it, but I just don't believe that is a fair price for it. I think that we still do have potential of this one sitting much higher than it previously was, as now a lot more people are aware of this one. But with the stock receiving so much hype so quickly and now seeing a bit of a sell-off, and again looking on the 6-month chart, we can see this sell-off is still continuing. You got to be asking yourself, you know, is it going to start to end, and is this stock going to fade into irrelevance? I think at the moment it is hard to say. So again, today isn't too bad for a sell-off. We are seeing a small sell-off, but again, not even that bad. But ultimately, we just don't know where this one is going. What I would say if you are trying to buy this one, I would definitely leave it a day or two. I think the stock is in a very interesting point. I would like to see a pullback occur in the next 2 to 3 days. I think if we can have that, you know what, the stock price can be saved. Now, if the stock price does start to plummet in the next 2 to 3 days by quite a large amount, this will unfortunately detract a lot of investors, I do believe. I think it will send a lot of people who bought the stock out of FOMO running for the hills, and that is not what we like to see, but that could be the start of the demise of GameStop stock. Now overall, it is hard to say long term where this one is going. Are we going to see a third spike in price? It is absolutely possible, who knows. But if you are looking to buy this one, I would look to buy it in the next 2 to 3 days, but I would wait to see at least some flat action, if not some upwards action, because ultimately I think that is the most important thing that we should be seeing. Now I know people are going to be commenting at this point saying, are you recommending to buy this one in the green? Well, of course, that is a good way to quote unquote get left holding the bag, as people say. I do understand this argument, guys, but I think a worse way to get quote unquote holding the bag is to buy it now blindly and, you know, just to hope that it goes back up. Obviously, like I have just mentioned, this stock is not a traditional stock. It doesn't move in the way of a traditional stock. There is no apparent catalyst other than a bunch of people on the internet trying to hype this one up. So it is not guaranteed that it is going to rocket back up. So that is the reason why I would wait a day or two just to see whether this momentum is going to carry on or to see whether the share price is going to flatten out. And again, no hate to the stock. I do actually like the story. I do hope it does very well. I hope everybody gets rich who bought this one. But I'm just keeping it real with you guys. We just don't know where this one is going. So I would leave it to the next 2 to 3 days. If tomorrow is in the green, whether it's by a small amount or a relatively large amount, I would wait towards the later part of the session to see what happens. And again, I'll be updating you on both of these stocks once more tomorrow. So that's my opinions on GameStop. Let's move on to AMC. Right, so look at AMC today, we can see that we are actually ever so slightly in the green. Now a lot of this is coming from pre-market hours, but we can see that from 9:30 up until now, we are actually in the red. So basically this one has moved down by about 2.5% in the open trading hours, which isn't good for this stock either. But again, the pattern of motion for this one over GME is a bit more significant and a bit more interesting. I think today was a push that we needed for AMC, because ultimately the share price has been quite flat for some time. I think the fact that it's now picking itself back up into the green is a fantastic sign, because like I said, AMC was also on the fence as to whether the next few days could make or break the stock. I think now we are seeing a bit more positive action, which once more further consolidates my thoughts that there is still a strong audience behind this stock. So I definitely think that a lot of potential is still on the table for AMC. Out of the two, I personally would still recommend buying AMC. And obviously no hate to people who bought GME, but I think that AMC rather is in a position where GME was a few months ago, in the sense that obviously yes, the price is cheaper. I just think that the hype hasn't really picked up for the stock yet. I think if it is going to happen, which is not guaranteed, it could happen very soon. As the price is starting to pick up, I think it will be just a matter of weeks hopefully before we are past previous highs. And if that is the case, I think this one could get a lot more publicity. And we all know that publicity was a thing that really pushed GME stock through the moon. I think this could be a similar story in the next 2 to 3 months with AMC, but we will have to wait to have a look and we'll see what happens. Now looking over here, on the charts for AMC, we can see the candlestick is quite strong. So today, or at least yesterday rather, we had quite a strong upside, and this was also reflected into today as the price opened up quite high. Now we can see quite a lot of strong downside to today's candle, but obviously it wasn't enough to bring us into the red, and the candle did remain green. So we did push up to highs, and I would like to see this one continue to rise into tomorrow. I think if this one can continue to rise into tomorrow, it is going to be a fantastic sign that there is still quite a lot of strength around the stock, and ultimately that is what I would love to see. So right now I am pretty optimistic for both AMC and GME. Once more, I really do hope that they can pull themselves back into the green, and I hope that the investors of these stocks get massive payouts. I hope that everybody makes a lot of money, but please do remember, it is not guaranteed. At the moment, these stocks are risky, and that is what people just need to know. So thank you, I will see you again soon. Goodbye until the next episode. Obviously have a wonderful evening, and goodbye.